It's the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast.
Oh yeah.
It's good to be back.
Will Garrison. I'm Brad Reed. This is the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast.
That's us.
I got to say real quick, I watched the Macho Man documentary on the WWE Network over the weekend. That was an amazing documentary.
They did that well.
They didn't hold back either because they kind of, some of the stuff about him maybe locking Elizabeth in a room, and that was kind of not good.
Yeah.
But everybody that does the oh yeah, or like the oh yeah, they do it. Everybody has a different way of doing the Macho Man oh yeah. Have you noticed?
I have noticed that, and he did that a bunch of different ways. All those interviews, all those segments and vignettes he did, man.
Yeah, totally. I kind of noticed that in our intro and the different ways that we do it, He would have sometimes he'd have a real oh yeah, kind of like, or you would even see that maybe during the beef jerky.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it would be kind of subtle, oh yeah,
snap it to a Slim Jim.
oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, if you haven't seen that, go to the WWE Network and watch that. And shame on you if you have. No, I'm kidding, because I only watched it the other day, and people may not even known it was out there.
It's out there, and it's really good. And not only that, there's a bunch of different documentaries out there. They put out those 24/7 kind of documentaries on even the current wrestlers now. They've done one on Finn. They've done one on Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's great stuff. It's good stuff to watch. Be sure to check it out.
Another thing that I think it was on YouTube, but it's probably somewhere on the network, I'll recommend real quick, too, is there's the my son or daughter is a WWE wrestler, and I watched one for Alexa Bliss, whose parents are probably in their 30s. She's so young.
Yeah, she is.
And then there was one for Seth, and I thought that was pretty cool too. Will, I find myself with us being on the road to WrestleMania, us being the WWE universe.
That's right.
I find myself watching a lot of these wrestling shows on the network now just because I can't wait. I'm so excited.
They get you amped up.
Yeah, usually before a big pay-per-view, that's what happens. The shows have been great, but of course they leave you wanting you more, which is what they want to do.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. And so, I go to the network. So I highly suggest people go to the WWE Network.
Sure.
And I highly suggest that people go to our Facebook page.
That's right. You want to go to the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast Facebook page. That is OOHH.
Yeah.
No pun intended. OOHH Wrestling Podcast. Find us on the Facebook page. I got to tell you, though, I want to say thank you to everybody that liked our page and followed us this week.
Yes.
Man, we've only had it up for a week, or less than a week. And, man, we've had over 100 people like it. That's not a huge amount in the grand scheme of where we're going to head with this thing. But for the first 100 people, man, thank you for being a part of us, man. We really do. Thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah. I always feel like with the podcast that I do, if 5 people are listening, I'm happy because, me and you do this because first and foremost, we're fans.
Yes.
And, we're kind of talking about what we think probably other fans are thinking, at least. And so if you're out there and you're listening to us and you want to contribute to the conversation, go to our Facebook page.
Yes.
Leave us a message. You could tell us, hey, you guys are full of ish.
We're going to tell you thanks for the feedback.
Exactly.
We're going to move on.
It's because you know what? It's all fandom.
That's right. We said this last week. I'm going to say it again. We are WWE fans. We love pro wrestling. We love pro wrestling. And, we're going to give you our opinions. You may love our opinions. You may hate them.
Yeah.
But, man, thank you for listening. But at the end of the day, we hope we entertain you just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We're on SoundCloud, so you can also go to SoundCloud and subscribe, download our podcasts. We do it weekly.
Yes, we do.
So we stay on it. So I think we should get into it.
It's time.
It's the top 3 Raw stories.
All right. The stories for this week. And what'd you think about this week's Raw, Will?
It's, as we talked about, on the road to WrestleMania. We are 2 weeks away, okay?
Yeah.
We're 2 weeks away. And as we do this podcast, less than 2 weeks away, and the stories are ramping up big time. And number 3 kicks us off with Ronda Rousey.
And Rousey's not backing down. Oh, and DeVille. And Ronda taking out Sonya Deville. Angle tried to play peacekeeper, and DeVille paid for it as she went for the sneak attack.
Go the other way, Mandy.
And Ronda Rousey sends Rose flying into DeVille. Look at the expression on Ronda's face. And I hope Stephanie McMahon is watching.
So what happened there, Absolution comes out. They're trying to recruit Ronda Rousey. And Ronda she's polite about it.
Yeah,
At first, she's like, no, thank you. I don't need a team. And so Paige basically says, well, you just made enemies of us then.
Yeah.
If you're not with us, you're against us. And they tried to kind of circle her, attack her, and she makes short business of both of them. DeVille and Liv Morgan.
No, Liv Morgan.
Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
I always get them confused.
Well,
I want them to be a tag
We did
team.
talk that in a previous podcast. It does kind of mirror each other.
Yeah.
But did you notice, Brad, that the switch that got flipped with Ronda? You know, when she came out the first few weeks, she had a lot of smiles. She kind of giggled a lot, and the fans are chanting for her name, and rightly so, right? We're so glad that Ronda Rousey is here in the WWE. It gives us so much to talk about and so much star power in the WWE, and especially in the women's division as well. And then, Absolution comes out. They say, hey, join us, and she says no. Like you said, she tries to be polite.
Yeah.
And then as they tried to come at her, that flip, it switches on her, and that face went serious. And when she's really lucky that Mandy's really lucky that her arm didn't get snapped off that night.
You're right. And here's the thing. I liked what I saw because one of the maybe criticisms I had about the whole deal with Ronda Rousey so far is, she comes out and they're bringing back up this whole story with Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
And eventually they're going to have to get her wrestling some of the women that are in, the WWE.
Yeah.
This was a good step towards incorporating her into some of those storylines and, getting her integrated with those women. And it was pretty cool. Obviously, we knew she was going to say no. But I was thinking, what kind of a faction would Absolution be with Ronda Rousey? Because that would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah,
me.
I don't really think they would have been, they're going to be unstoppable at that point. But you brought up a great point. They're bringing people in. They're bringing more people into the storyline as far as not like the storyline that's going to play out, but just giving us a little bit more of Ronda.
Right.
They have been in, and rightly so, they have protected her. And, don't show too much, don't show too little. We want a little bit more Ronda. We want a little bit more and a little bit more.
Sure.
We posted it on our Facebook page last week of the training that she was going through at the Performance Center, and we're getting just a little bit more of her. And I'm really anxious, as like we said, 2 weeks away. What is she really going to bring to the table? Is it going to be a whole lot of Triple H and a whole lot of Kurt Angle, or are we going to get a little bit of Stephanie and Ronda going at it?
Here's another thing that I thought was funny, and I should have got this audio, but she calls Stephanie McMahon trust fund tough.
Woo.
Have you ever met anybody trust fund tough, Will?
No, I'm not there in my life, man.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice to know some people who were trust fund tough. But, yeah, so that was number 3, and to wrap that one up, just really, Jim Cornette on his podcast, they asked him, what would you have done with Ronda Rousey? And he gave like this whole thing, and it would have been a whole year before she actually wrestled in like the WrestleMania type match that she's going to wrestle in. So part of me was like, I'm thankful that they're going ahead and starting this off big.
Yeah.
But like his was the way he was going to incorporate her in and everything, sort of Brock Lesnar like, but it sounded really like a great idea. I'm not like so excited the way they're doing it, but I'm still super excited about this match and just the fact that where she's going to go from here.
She's coming.
Yeah. Where she's going from here.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
All right, let's go to number 2.
And if you do nothing, you let me down, sure as hell let Kane down. But most importantly, you've made it crystal clear to every single person who has ever believed in The Undertaker that you do not care about them. You care only about yourself.
John's bringing the heat there.
For the sake of all that is good inside this ring, I see you next week.
So that was Cena calling out The Undertaker again.
Yeah.
No word from The Undertaker yet. As of even tonight, this is Wednesday night. We haven't heard anything yet.
There's nothing more. And, I was kind of like really anxious to hear that that bell
Yes.
of the Undertaker. You're really, the lightning, the whatever, it's going to happen. You're really excited it's going to happen. And I have to tell you, I'm a little bit happy about how they played out this story. Next week on Raw is going to be 1 week, or really 6 days for WrestleMania, and there is no word from him yet. And it's really built that anticipation. It's built the storyline, and it's allowed John Cena really do what he does best, is get on that mic and talk a whole lot of trash.
Do something.
Watching Raw, I thought, okay, surely something's going to happen this week because they won't 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. We're not going to sit here and just see John Cena talking to himself.
Right.
Well, that is what happened. However, he was so entertaining. Like even in the match with Kane, where he's sitting up like the Undertaker does and doing the thumb across the neck. Just all the gestures and kind of goading the Undertaker. What do you think happens this next Monday night? Do we get to finally see Undertaker?
I think, I think we do. I think the dead man shows up, and I think he might show up in a really, really strong way. Not just the bell, not just some lightning, not just some smoke. He might show up. I love one of those things where the lights go dark and then all of a sudden he's in the ring. And I have to say, though, for what they did on Raw this past week, John is that good. John Cena is that good to carry this storyline pretty much without the presence of the Undertaker. That's how good he is. But on the other hand, Brad, the presence of the Undertaker, just the very mention of his name,
right?
People get excited about it.
Yeah.
They really do, especially this time of year. It's WrestleMania.
So we just got to hope that Undertaker
Do something.
Something. Please.
Now, is there any chance that that the Undertaker isn't going to show up and that we'll get some kind of different match with Cena?
I would really say no.
Yeah.
I'm really expecting to see
There's no way
Undertaker.
that they pushed it this long, to me, and not to have Undertaker.
Yeah, that would be, for me as a fan, I'd be pretty disheartened, I'd tell you the truth.
And any correlation between Undertaker and Kid Rock going in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Do we see, and I know it was also Limp Bizkit that played his music, but, Kid Rock he's a rock star. He's from that era. He played in some of those big-time shows during the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Do we see the American Badass Undertaker? Do we see that guy?
Awesome. That would be awesome. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing Monday Night Raw for that. And then, of course, we got our top 3 number 1 moment.
Reigns is here, and he has a steel chair in hand. And now Brock Lesnar's come out to meet him. And Lesnar just cleaned Reigns' clock, barreling through Roman.
So for another week, we see this time Brock Lesnar's out there, Paul Heyman's out there, and we didn't think we were going to even see Roman Reigns. In fact, Paul was kind of saying, he's not going to show up. He said he said that he's the guy who shows up. He won't be here. But then Roman Reigns comes out of the crowd and then basically gets just his butt whooped by
he got
Brock
a little
Lesnar.
more in this week than he did last week. He was handcuffed.
Of course, he wasn't handcuffed this week.
And I got to say that whenever Brock and Paul Heyman start off the show, it's going to be good. Paul Heyman is just, on the mic.
Right.
He shoots the best promos. He makes the best promos happen. And for a guy that is just the stature of Brock Lesnar, just standing there, the presence of who he is, but Paul Heyman really builds this guy up to be almost the unbeatable force of what he is. But Roman is there saying, you know what? You may beat me down, but I'm not giving up. You can suspend me, you can handcuff me and beat the tar out of me, but I'm going to show up again. And that's what we're going to see at WrestleMania again. I think that we're going to see Brock Lesnar give Roman Reigns all that he wants.
Right.
But we're going to see a Roman that does not give up. We'll say it again. This is how WWE's getting Roman over, and he's actually getting over. There's some boos for Brock Lesnar, some cheers for Roman Reigns that we haven't heard yet in the past, and they're really coming together. And, the fact that, he keeps going to Suplex City right now and in the build-up to this, and he keeps getting the chair shots. And then, Brad, this was the killer for Roman, and how does he bounce back? Where's just aggression back to him? He gets an F5 on the stairs. man, that that he had to walk away from that pretty beat up.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what we've seen. Roman Reigns 2 weeks in a row now, just getting pummeled. So,
Yeah.
But that builds up a nice anticipation. What do you think on Monday night? Do they turn the tables and let Roman Reigns kind of get over? Maybe take the fight a little more to Brock Lesnar this time.
Well,
put him through a table by turning the tables.
Turning the tables. See, and WWE Hall of Fame's coming up. Devon gets a table. See,
see
how it all ties together there. But I don't know. We'll see. It would be great to see Roman get in a few more shots just to build. But at the same time, maybe Brock's got his number.
Yeah, well, and Brock on his way out, you were talking about people getting over and the fans. He was still getting a lot of cheers. Like I still think there's a good amount of people that don't really, for whatever reason, like Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this turns everything around. So we had a couple honorable mentions. We're not going to recap the whole episode. Hopefully all of our fans, the WWE fans that listen, have already watched all this. But
yes.
We will talk about a little bit about Sasha and Bayley. They got into it. That was they kind of talked back and forth about you only had the title for how long?
Yeah.
And yada, yada, yada. But that's setting up a nice little rivalry between them.
One that's been built for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
These
Since Royal Rumble, right?
Well, and even further back, when they were coming up in NXT together,
mm-hmm.
they put on an Iron Man match. They put on they stole the show a couple times with the matches that they put on. And here we are, a couple of years later, and we're going to try to recreate that magic of what Sasha versus Bayley is all about. I mean, Sasha really is a natural-born heel. She really is.
Yeah.
She's got that,
She can wrestle, too.
Yes, she can.
I think she's good.
Absolutely.
Really good.
But Bayley's the ultimate, she's the, say your prayers and
she looks
take
like
your vitamins
a version
and
of,
hug her.
like the wrestling version of Katy Perry to me. But I love those. I love her entrance, too, with the pop-ups. Those are hilarious.
Absolutely.
Another thing that we should talk about, too, that's going on Raw. We still don't know who Strowman's partner is.
No, we don't.
This week he said if the Celtic Warrior could beat him, right, that he would reveal who his partner would be. So I had two predictions on this.
Yeah, give them to us.
And I'm leaning towards one more than the other. But the first one was that he would end up reaching across the aisle to SmackDown and picking a partner from SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I know me and you had thought about Rusev, we'll talk about SmackDown here pretty soon. But now we know that that's not going to happen. I think what I'm leaning towards more is he's going to have like a celebrity, a partner.
You always see a celebrity in WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that you see in WrestleMania is, but, this is for the belts. And, do they have a celebrity hold the belts? Or do they not let Strowman, who just seems to be unstoppable, not win those belts? So it's kind of a toss-up. Love what you're saying because you do get that celebrity aspect of it. And it's kind of it's
maybe,
kind of up in the air.
Maybe it's a celebrity that somehow towards the end ends up losing. And Braun Strowman loses because of the celebrity.
We've seen that before with Strowman. Maybe not on the celebrity side, but somebody's costing him something else.
The other thing, maybe this is a third possibility that I think we've mentioned, Kane.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. I mean, he shows up, and they've talked about how both for Undertaker and Kane, this is kind of getting close to their end of an era, so to speak, with the Brothers of Destruction, and they're not together. But these guys, maybe they got one more run in with Strowman and Kane. Who knows? But the very last honorable mention that I want to say, Brad, for Raw, which was awesome, and it's just crazy.
Elias defeating Rhino. No.
Well, I don't think I was going to go there, but we might talk about Elias later.
Later. I know what it is, though. Go ahead.
It's Miz TV.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And, oh, man, that was one of those moments where even I was fooled a little bit. I didn't see that the Miz Taraj was just doing all this to set it up so that they could attack Finn Balor. and
Seth Rollins.
They
played that so well.
They did play it well.
I mean, so well. I mean, the fact that he says, I'm going to be the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. And then,
better than Mr. Perfect.
And, woo! I mean, that's
Curtis Axel's dad.
Yeah, that's his dad. And the Curtis Axel played it so well. The look on his face. And, man, even what the comments that Bo Dallas made, the phony A-lister.
Yeah, they can't fight. Yeah.
I mean, that was a great way they did that.
That was good.
The way they turned the tables on Seth and Finn, who Miz is kind of getting his butt handled by them for this whole storyline.
Right.
Man, it was great to see that. And the Miztourage did actually face the Good Brothers later. The Good Brothers did end up winning that match. But, man, it was a good storyline, really cool, and a great honorable mention.
It's the top 3 SmackDown stories.
All right, so I guess our first one, it's a story of the tag teams.
Yep.
Regardless of the beatdowns, regardless of the mallets, regardless of the fact that they tried to break my back on the steel stairs, there's a problem that these two men have, and that's the fact that they left us with the ability to walk.
Ooh.
So tonight, we will run right through the Bludgeon Brothers to get back on the road to WrestleMania in order to reclaim our WWE World
This is where they shake it.
Team Championships.
And they get their butts kicked by the Bludgeon Brothers.
Well,
but this was a match where I felt like finally the Bludgeon Brothers are seeing some competition. We talked a little bit more about that last week, but even the commentators said on this SmackDown that the Bludgeon Brothers were in a couple of spots where they were in a little more trouble than they're used to.
Yeah, and, when it came down to it, the match is going on, and when things really got tougher, then what do? Rowan comes in with the mallets and tries to just destroy him. And at that point in time, though, so it's a decent match. Things are happening. They come in with the mallets, and who shows up to the aid of the New Day, which is crazy. Who was that, Brad?
The Usos.
The Usos, man.
But when they got in the ring with them, they it wasn't so friendly.
No, it was almost like the Usos, almost like debating their side of, hey, we're here to help you, and kind of pushing back, and the New Day didn't want to hear any part of it because, I mean, why would they trust the Usos by any stretch of the imagination?
Now, are we going to talk about the rumor about the New Day here or during our rumors?
Well, we talk about it in the past, and we can kind of say now there is a rumor that has been kind of said over and over and over again that the New Day is going to break up after WrestleMania.
Ooh, that's so bad.
It is. They've been together so long, and if they do break up, you can understand why. I bet Big E's got a great singles run in him to be, Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champion, even the WWE Champion. I could see that on Big E all day long.
What I worry about, though, is some of the other ones are going to fall to the wayside, like Xavier or, Kofi's been around and, he's established.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're better as a group, better as a whole.
Well, they seem to be. They really show it. Xavier Woods, just like we did in the opening audio there, Brad, man, he can talk on the mic. He knows how to put down a promo. And he's gotten so much better. He was the guy when New Day started way back when that he didn't really wrestle much. He was just kind of a mouthpiece. He had the trombone. He did those kind of quirky things and then kind of got involved when he needed to. And now you see him wrestle more and more and more. You see actually him wrestle more often than not. And so I don't know what that would mean for them. But also, what does that mean for the Usos? We actually talked about this today on the phone today, Brad. Is like, what does that mean for the Usos, though? They come to the aid of New Day. And say they break up. Does the Usos try to get into that kind of like bad boy, bad guy, but babyface role where they're the Uso Penitentiary? They still have this gimmick. They still have this great, look that they have.
Yeah.
But their biggest foes are going to be the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's what's great about WrestleMania, and especially the night after WrestleMania on Raw and the next night on SmackDown.
I want to pose one more theory to this New Day rumor.
Yeah.
Could you imagine it to where maybe just Big E leaves and then they kind of have like some heat between the remaining members of the New Day and Big E, and then he goes off to do his own thing?
Nothing should surprise us in the WWE.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing should. Even though we do get surprised, we should not be surprised.
All right, let's go to our number 2 SmackDown story.
AJ, thank you for being in my corner. but I never needed your help.
Ooh, man.
I only wanted you to see how I will beat you at WrestleMania.
Need a face, right?
Yeah.
Need a face. That's how he's going to beat him. That's Shinsuke kind of building this rivalry because, like I say, both of those are baby faces right now.
Yep.
And everybody, they call it the dream match, you know, because they want to see these two guys.
I do.
They both have
absolutely.
different styles, but they both have kind of been, you know, doing this for a long time before they even entered in the WWE.
Yeah, they were in New Japan.
Had they ever fought before?
You know, they may have in New Japan. I don't want to say, you know, for sure on that.
The way they're building it up, it's like maybe they haven't, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if it's possible that they actually have.
Not that I have seen. That's what I will say. But, you know, even in New Japan, it was guys like Shinsuke and AJ that put New Japan Wrestling on the map.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that like they weren't a credible company or anything like that, but they made them were like, ooh, what are these guys doing? Because AJ was part of the Bullet Clubs, Shinsuke too, and it just, man, they really put that as far as like in a little bit of competition with WWE. People wanted to see that. And the fact that Shinsuke had the gall to be like, hey, man, you know, he and AJ did get involved a little bit in the match because it wasn't a bad match at all with
Right.
Shelton Benjamin.
Right.
But he pulls Chad Gable and gets him off the apron and gets him out. And the fact that he says, hey, man, come on up here. I want to say something to you.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, you know, like we say, Shinsuke talking a little smack. We like that. And it's unexpected from him because he's such the baby face.
Yeah.
Not, you know, his English speaking skills hadn't been great. I feel like those weeks that he was kind of off of TV for a while, maybe they were working on some
It's
of
a
that.
good possibility.
But AJ Styles, he's you know, he's no slouch. He's a proud guy.
Yeah.
And so this is a dream match, but he had his own view on this dream match.
But my dream match goes a little different because outside of me, you're considered the best. But when I walk in to WrestleMania as the WWE champion and defeat you, then that proves that I am better than the best, that AJ Styles is phenomenal, that this is the house that AJ Styles built.
There you
Yeah.
go. You can't argue with that. And it's going to be great because, yeah, he's talking to Shinsuke about playing games. But the thing is, whoever wins, I'm going to be okay with. But I really feel like AJ Styles, he's had so many things that they've thrown against him. He's had to retain his title at the Elimination Chamber
Yeah.
and all that. So I feel like this is also going to be something that he will overcome.
Let me throw this something at you, Brad. Do we see a heel turn for one of these guys in the match? I mean,
In the match or even next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
don't
something
know.
that's something to look forward to because I think, you know, we've seen AJ as the heel, especially when he was going up against John Cena back in the day with the Good Brothers, and you know their famous tagline of "Beat up John Cena." They did that over and over again. He plays a heel well. Can we see Shinsuke play that heel as well? I think we can because
I think so too.
Yeah.
And since he's the one who's kind of initiating this the smack talking,
because the last thing he said to him was, "Why do you think I'm going to beat you? It's because you're too emotional."
yeah, he did.
He
and
laid
then
it
he
out
did
there.
the almost like the Mr. Miyagi like where in the movie where he goes for the he like tries to almost hits him and then he's like boop on the
Yep.
nose. Shinsuke like acts like he's he's in the corner, he's getting all riled up. And
Yeah.
he goes to like he's about to deliver the knee and then he stops, you
Yeah.
know, and kind of smiles but Shinsuke is going to be if he goes heel, he's still going to I think he's just going to be a hilarious heel. I think people are still going to dig him.
He's still going to be over. He's still going to be doing his thing.
Totally. So and this is one, okay, so, you look at Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I don't see that really being like a thing that continues that much after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't know if we're even going to see Brock after that. He's got rumors of going back to UFC.
Which I'm glad. He can go as
I'm
far as
ready, Brad. I'm ready to see the title back on Raw.
On Raw,
Yeah,
yes.
every week.
Me too.
That's what I'm
Me
ready
too.
to see as a fan.
Cena Taker, that's not going to be something. Rousey McMahon, but I feel like Shinsuke AJ, this may go on a little while.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's
they're
going to
fight.
be gratifying.
Yes, it is. That's going to be one of those rivalries that we are talking about next year at WrestleMania, 5 years from now.
Yeah,
and if
which
not,
they need. They need some
do.
of that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, so let's get to number 1 on our top 3 SmackDown moments.
SmackDown Live is
The house that AJ Styles built.
I just had to throw that in there. All right, here's the real one.
SmackDown Live is the land of opportunities. Here is my proposal. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens face Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
So this is something we kind of saw coming. I kind of mentioned this last week, and I was talking about how they're going to shoehorn them back in, but this is their way back in, to the WWE after being fired.
Yeah.
So basically, Daniel Bryan says they've got a chance, but there's stipulations here.
Yeah.
Here are the stipulations. If Shane and I win, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens remain fired. If Shane and I lose and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win, they will be reinstated to SmackDown Live.
And so I would say, if I had to guess, that's probably what's going to happen.
Well,
that they're going to win and get reinstated. Or if they lose, you might end up seeing them in Raw again.
There is that shakeup. There is that thing that does happen after WrestleMania. But Sammy and KO are going to be fighting for their lives, literally, in the WWE. They want to be a part of that. You know what? Even Daniel earlier in that promo, he says, "I believe that these two guys are some of the best in the business, and especially together, they really are. They're the tandem that those guys are. It's almost like KO. He comes down and he's the angry guy.
Yeah,
and then Sammy as well, but he's almost like that little puppy bouncing around, going, "Come on, come on, come on!"
Yeah,
what
he's
are
the
you gonna do about
Energizer
it?
Bunny.
Yeah, he is.
And Kevin Owens is the straight guy. Yeah, it's a great pairing. And when he said that, like maybe a few months ago, when he was saying they're the best, and at that time I was kind of like, But they really are.
Yeah, they're playing it up well.
Yeah, they're really.
And not only that, I mean, backstory, they've been friends for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
These guys were in each other's weddings. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, so just kind of the chemistry that those guys share in the ring and outside, does kind of make them in that in that story of like when Daniel says some of the best in the business right now, maybe not all time, but in the business right now, you might be able to say that about them.
Some interesting stuff going on with this story, too, outside of the ring, basically. Shane McMahon, he really did when they had that, or when they attacked him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He had a hernia that happened because of that. And then he had complications due to diverticulitis.
Which is painful all by itself.
Yeah. Now, it's amazing to me that he would be able to wrestle 2 weeks after because, diverticulitis, and it may not have been too bad, but I've seen a lot of people go down hard to diverticulitis. And then also, hernia, whatever he did, I'm assuming he had to have hernia surgery. Did he not?
All they did is they gave us a picture. And with his family and the support that he has, I don't think they would tease the match this close to WrestleMania and it not happen. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the great thing is when you get a Shane McMahon match, whether this is a tag team, we're excited. Daniel Bryan, he's coming back. The crowd, I mean, can you think about the pop that Daniel Bryan's going to get when his music hits at WrestleMania? It's going to be crazy loud. But Shane brings some awesome moments inside these matches. I mean, think about Hell in the Cell here recently when he jumps, that's what started this whole story. And Sami Zayn pulls KO off the table as Shane comes crashing down on Hell in the Cell, from Hell in the Cell onto the table, and it burst everywhere. I mean, Shane has these kind of moments where he jumps across the ring, and man, he is an athlete, and he may not be the best technical wrestler in the world, but man, he is in shape. He looks good, and man, he brings some great moments.
Shane is always super entertaining. I mean, I've always liked watching Shane, and he grew up around wrestling.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's his life, man.
And I was thinking about that along with Stephanie, because I'm not so excited about Stephanie McMahon wrestling. But like I say, both of them have grown up around this, even though they're trust fund tough. But no, I mean, Shane McMahon, he is tough.
He is tough.
I mean, you can't jump off the Hell in the Cell like that and not be tough. I'm sorry.
No. It's just simply amazing, and I'm looking forward to those, what Daniel Bryan brings and the energy that he brings, the crowd, what he's going to bring, and then what Shane does too. And then, we're not talking about a couple slouches in KO and Sami Zayn. They're going to bring some great stuff as well.
So let's talk about our honorable mention from SmackDown. I think it has to be Rusev.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was Rusev Day on SmackDown
it's
because
always Rusev Day. Happy Rusev Day, Brad.
It's so funny how popular he's getting. Because I was even thinking I want a Rusev Day shirt now. People that are listening, they can't see, but I've got this Ultimate Warrior shirt. I got an Ultimate Warrior shirt the other day.
Nice.
And I got a Hot Rod shirt.
Ooh.
Yeah. But I was like, I want a Rusev Day shirt. Those shirts are cool. I still don't like English. But Rusev makes a very good point to get into this U.S. Championship match because he gets out there and he pins Orton.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Jinder and Rusev versus Orton and Rude.
Right. And it was supposed to be Jinder and one of the Singh brothers, one of his cronies, was going to be the tag team. And then he comes out and he's got the neck collar and he's hurt and he can't do it. And here comes Rusev, right? And for Rusev's point of view, just as the show goes on, he's like, why wouldn't I be a part of this? And the minute that he does, like you said, Brad, he pins Randy Orton, then Jinder comes out and tells him, hey, man, you're my guy. We should team up. We should do this, and we're gonna have a big celebration. And I'm gonna. And for WrestleMania, he tells Rusev, "I'm gonna get you front row tickets to watch me beat these guys." And he just kind of snickers and smiles and says, "I think I just pinned Randy Orton.
Yeah,
I'll see you there."
Yeah, he's gonna
do something.
That might be on the podcast for a while.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that one a lot.
Yeah.
I like it. I wanted to see Rusev at WrestleMania. I think this is a good way to get him in. What about Randy Orton, putting these guys over 2 weeks in a row, letting Jinder pin, or not, but you know how these things
go. The story goes, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, it's always best for him and him personally when he's, he's the veteran, man. He's been around for a long time, and he's helping building these guys up. The storyline that he had with Jinder for the WWE Championship, he put Jinder over several times and back and forth. And then with Bobby Roode coming in, Bobby Roode is no young buck. I mean, he's really not. He is a veteran. He's been in the wrestling business for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so these guys are able to, they know they can all work. They know they can put on entertaining matches. And so for Randy, I don't think it's a big deal at all because he knows that this is only going to benefit him and they're going to have a greater match at WrestleMania because of it. The crazy thing is with the card that we have at WrestleMania, where does this match fit in? Does it end up being like a pre-show match, or does it actually get on the main card in WrestleMania? Mm-hmm. We don't know yet because WrestleMania, we know, can go 6-7 hours with the pre-show, all the all the introductions and all the panel that they do, the pre-show matches, and then the WrestleMania card itself. And so where does it end up, man, on the match? Is it a pre-show match or on the main card? We don't know yet, but they're trying to tell a great story.
Who's going to walk out with the championship?
I think it's going to be Bobby Roode. I really do. I think that he had a good little run. This helps him get over a little bit more. And the fact that he can just say, glorious at the end of the night. And I think the crowd will go crazy for it.
So should we make a bet?
We can make a bet.
If Bobby Roode wins, I'll buy you a Glorious t-shirt.
Ooh.
And if Rusev wins, you buy me a Rusev Day shirt.
A medium, right?
No. I haven't worn a medium ever.
But it's a bet. It's a bet.
Just another mention, Becky Lynch, she fought Ruby Riott and ended up throwing out, after she won, she threw the Riott Squad over the ropes, so another kind of preview to the Battle Royal.
Yeah, absolutely. She is showing that her worth in this Battle Royal is what she's going to do. And not only that, man, it looks like we posted it on the Facebook page last week. Charlotte's a little dinged up.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of kept her out of the Mixed Match Challenge. Becky went in. I haven't seen the match yet. I'm going to watch it.
So Becky filled in.
Yeah, Becky filled in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And any word on Charlotte's injury? Is that going to keep her out of WrestleMania?
I think it's the same thing of what we're seeing with AJ. It's these guys, these guys and girls are just a little dinged up, and they want them to be 100% going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting to the end of the football season. It's week 16 in the NFL,
yeah.
and they've already wrapped up home field advantage, whoever it is, and they're like, well,
Well, you saw Asuka. Her match was against
who?
Jamie Frost or
we don't even know who that is.
Yeah, it was bad.
Hey, at least she had a promo. She could be able to tell her friends at home, I just had a promo.
Well, yeah. So that's pretty much SmackDown. Both of the shows, great shows this week.
Yeah.
Everything leading up to WrestleMania so far has been super exciting. And like I say, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to in the next, just before WrestleMania, finding out who Strowman's partner is going to be.
I'm really excited about
that. And then, of course, The Undertaker, finding out how that's going to go down. I think both of those are big time. And then SmackDown, I don't know. Are there any mysteries, really? I can't think of any going on.
Not any real mysteries, but they've told several good stories.
Yeah,
and that's really
stories.
all I care about.
Exactly.
Is that they're building up this story, and I believe that's what Vince McMahon cares about when he puts these storylines together, and the creative puts all these together. Is this building a real story? And I think we're getting a lot of those.
Dirt sheets and rumors.
All right, dirt sheets and rumors time. I know that you follow all this stuff pretty close.
I try to, and I try to give it out to our fans as well on the Facebook page. I try to keep them informed with us because, we're not doing this alone. We're all in the WWE universe. We're all pro wrestling fans. So I try to put it out there, just like about Charlotte being dinged up and AJ being dinged up. And even today I posted what could be a spoiler alert. They put it out there, ProWrestlingSheets.com. They're a great place to be able to find that kind of stuff. But you can find it on our Facebook page. I'll keep you up to date. And you can click down that and look at the story. One of the things that we wanted to talk about is what's actually happening in New Orleans the weekend of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So not only do you get, WrestleMania, and there's going to be a tailgate party, but one of the cool things that we found, if you're going down to New Orleans, I really, I told Brad, look, man, if I had 5 G's to throw down and we could go down to New Orleans, I would do it in a heartbeat because of all the festivities that you're going to see. A couple of the things that we saw is that highspots.com is they're going to be doing some, high spots, play on the pun there, but they're going to be doing some stuff with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kevin Nash, and I think they're going to be doing their, Stone Cold, I think he's going to be doing his podcast from there. And so just in that area, there's going to be a big buzz down there.
Jim Ross, you said, isn't he going to be doing his podcast?
He'll be doing his, we could probably expect something from Sam Roberts as well down there. I'm sure Wade Keller, Dave Meltzer, all those guys are going to be down there the night before or the weekend of, and just making things happen because I've heard that there's a wrestling show going on the Friday night or maybe a Saturday night of WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Because just why wouldn't you? It's good business, man. Take advantage of the wrestling fans that are down there. And Friday night, though, you get the Hall of Fame, which we talked about last week. We won't spend any time on that. But that's a big, big thing going down there.
So did we determine if it's Impact that's going to be there, or that's what we had heard?
We don't know for sure what's going to happen down there.
That's interesting to me. I mean, it makes sense because they're going to go out there. There's going to be a ton of people in New Orleans that will want to watch wrestling all weekend long. But it also kind of reminds me of how these indies have talked about, how they take exception to the fact that they'll put on a show in a town where WWE doesn't normally come or something like that. I think they mentioned Iowa.
Yeah.
They don't get a whole lot of that. But then all of a sudden NXT's showing up now.
NXT show, yeah.
And so now are they kind of taking it back to the WWE, kind of.
Well, I think they're trying.
Yeah.
I mean, and we are wrestling fans, so I would go watch any of those shows as a fan.
Sure.
I'm not sure that, you're really sticking it to WWE at this point.
Well, yeah.
I think you're just capitalizing on what's out there.
Right. That'd be like us going and setting up our podcast and taking advantage of.
Is that what we're going to do? We're going to go live in New Orleans?
I mean, you said we had to have like 5K each, which is not going to happen.
It'd be a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, it would be fun. I love New Orleans anyway. But let's talk about this. This is a rumor. The Rock.
Yeah.
Is there something that The Rock is cooking regarding WrestleMania?
Well, there is actually in Las Vegas, there's bets that are going down on will The Rock show up at WrestleMania. Now, I want to give all credit where credit is due and where this came from today,
Sure.
which was Sam Roberts.
Okay.
He does a great podcast, and when he talked about it, it just made all the sense in the world to me today. He put it on his podcast, and that'll be released before we release this one, so we're not doing anything, stealing any thunder whatsoever. I'm just piggybacking off what he says.
Sure.
And this is, this is a really cool thought, and he feels really strongly about it. He's actually really connected. He does a lot of those pre-shows, and he's involved a little bit. He doesn't know everything, and he admits that, but he believes that Elias has really kind of said, hey, I'm going to be putting on a performance at WrestleMania. Here I am. And he's not having a match, but he's going to have a performance. And so with the wrestling, with the Vegas odds of like, will The Rock show up or not? And then having this Elias thing where he plays the guitar. Mm-hmm. You remember back in the day, Brad?
Oh yeah,
Rock played some guitar, man.
Yeah, like on Saturday Night Live and at the wrestling shows, and he's got a little crooning in him. Actually, there's a video too where he's doing lip syncing to a Taylor Swift song. Look that up. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I think The Rock would be great. I mean, I always love seeing The Rock.
Well, we talked about pops earlier. You're going to get, so Shane McMahon has a massive moment. The Undertaker shows up. Daniel Bryan's big pop. The roof literally might come off the building when The Rock comes out because we don't get to see him very often. He is a mega star. And the fact but he never, ever, ever says anything, but this is what made me, was the WWE. He loves wrestling. He loves being a part of it.
Yeah.
And if he shows up for 5 minutes, it's going to be a highlight. We're going to talk about that on the podcast, Brad.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because you could see how it would go, with him, like, who are you? I'm Elias, or walk with Elias, or what? It doesn't matter, who
Shut
you're walking
your Rudy Poo.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be gold. It would be comedy gold. Have you seen? I'm sure you have the Elias Snickers commercials.
I have, yeah.
I like those. I like the idea, but that commercial, I don't know. It doesn't totally make sense. I get it. It's absurd that he's singing to the kids, but I don't know. It did, like the other ones. There's some really funny ones with like Joe Pesci.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's cool to see that kind of mainstream too, where Elias of all people is on a Snickers commercial.
I think we're going to see big things from Elias.
I do
Maybe
too.
they didn't have the greatest storyline for him. We kind of thought maybe Braun and Elias were going to have a big match, and I think maybe they held that off for a reason. I think we're going to see some cool storylines, and where Braun and Elias, we're talking a year from now. But we may see them competing for the WWE or the Universal Championship. We may see something like that. So why spoil that right now when the storyline's not big? I think Elias, Braun, Miz, these guys are big time. These are the big time stars right now. And along with Roman and Seth and Finn, I mean, there's no shortage of talent on either roster right now.
Yeah, Elias, he's jacked. He's huge.
Yeah.
And he's got some pretty cool moves too. So I think Elias is I think he's maybe just an unpolished gem at this point or something. I think he's got some definitely he's got potential. Okay, we've talked about this too a couple weeks, maybe in the first week or last week, and then we immediately saw a story after. So I think it was last week, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking about how it was a shame that we weren't going to see him anytime soon, but that might not be true.
I think they were listening to the podcast, and they were like, hey, these guys want to see this.
Heck yeah. Thank you for giving us what we want,
Thanks,
listening
Vince.
to the podcast.
Yeah.
But so at WrestleMania?
I don't know. There's two big things that happen. There's WrestleMania, and then there's the night after WrestleMania.
Sure.
And both of them are massive, huge shows because what I love, this was last year, what happened right after WrestleMania. Vince comes out, his intro hits, no chance in hell, and he comes doing his strut down the walkway, and he thanks the fans for all that, and then he says, but that was yesterday, and this is today. And he's already moved, he's moving on to the next WrestleMania, which will be next year, and I think it's back it's in New Jersey next year. And I think that do we see something big happen on Monday Night Raw? Maybe a Hogan return, something along those lines. Now, they are in talks, but just because they're in talks does not mean that it's going to happen. And also,
right.
It's kind of an uncertainty to put him on WrestleMania. Is all forgiven with Hogan, even with the fans?
Yeah.
I believe everybody
feel
makes
like
mistakes.
I feel like the fans
Yeah.
are probably going to be like me and you and say, this exile shouldn't last forever.
Yeah.
If he's learned and if he's learned a lesson,
Sure.
that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
And
we've all made mistakes.
right. But so I feel like a lot of the fans would welcome him back with open arms.
Yeah.
And
He may have to deal with a few boos.
yeah. And, what I would think, what do the guys in the locker room think? What do some of the people in the company think? If they all feel like they could share a locker room with Hulk Hogan, and of course he's not back there like that. But you see what I'm saying?
100% I understand.
Because those are the guys that are, to me, those are the guys that their opinion would be the most important.
A lot of those guys that are in that locker room, maybe not some of the newer guys because they don't know him personally, but some of the guys that are veterans that have been a part of, the sports entertainment journey that we've been on, say even the past, 10 to 15, 20 years. A lot of them came to the aid of him saying, he's not this guy. And I know that he said the wrong thing, and nobody disagrees that he said the wrong thing. Nobody here disagrees with that he said the wrong thing. But they've kind of came to his aid a little bit, saying he's not that kind of guy. Man, you think about everything that he went through with that tape that came out. I mean, he's been through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And not that, you have to remember what happened, but just as society, we have to be able to forgive and move on. And he is one of the icons of this industry.
Do you think he should come out and address the universe, the people, the critics, and apologize? Or, and in my opinion, this might be better, which is to just put it in the past and
just move on.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
too.
I think so. Just move on. It's something that you and I, we talk about as fans, and this, the kind of conversations that we can have. But for live TV and if he wants to, if WWE, I got to say this, Triple H has done such a great job with bringing some of these people in. Bruno Sammartino, who Vince and Bruno, this was way back a few years ago, they were not on great terms. Jake the Snake Roberts, they brought him back into the Hall of Fame, and then he actually did a little stint on, he did a week on Monday Night Raw. Some of these fractured, old-time, just relationships, and Triple H has done a great job bringing it in, kind of nurturing, and I think that you never say never in the WWE. You say, that guy will never be back. Well, even in the Hall of Fame this year, Jeff Jarrett's coming back, and that was a really fractured relationship and a really bad thing for them.
Well, because he went off and, started his own deal, didn't he? And,
yeah.
He was doing all kinds of stuff outside of the WWE.
Some pretty bad things on top of it.
Yeah.
About Vince.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to a close here, Will.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody that we do this show weekly.
Yeah.
So once we've seen the pay-per-views, the Raw, the SmackDown, then we get on here and talk about the recaps. And also, we mentioned this earlier. Go to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
It's the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
And it's OOOHHH. Yeah.
O Triple H.
There you go. And if there's anything that we talked about that you want to comment on, leave us a comment. We'll read it, or whatever. But we want to interact with you, the other people in the WWE universe, because that's where we're coming from here. We're fans of all of this. Also, if there's any indie stuff that you want to point us in you want us to kind of cover some of that, let us know what you're interested in. Any stuff locally, let us know what's going on.
Yeah. And, that's one of our goals that we talked about in the first podcast is that, we're really wrapped up in WrestleMania right now.
Yeah, totally.
But Brad and I are going to go out and search, and, we're in the Oklahoma City area.
Sure.
And we're going to be hitting some of these local spots.
Right.
Man, we're going to see what we can do. Maybe we can bring somebody on. Maybe we can't. But we're going to at least go talk about it. And because, man, we love professional wrestling. We love sports entertainment. And that's what we're here to do is we're going to give our opinions. And at the end of the day, we hope we're entertaining just a little bit.
Yeah, we are going to
do something.
Absolutely.
So that brings us to a close. Like I said, we're also on SoundCloud.
That's right.
So subscribe, download the shows,
Please
share it with your friends. And we thank everybody for tuning in tonight, giving us the likes on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Tell a friend.
Tell everybody.
Yeah.
Brad, it was another great show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, Will.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Next week.